I was awakened by the early morning light and the singing of mountain birds. I heard the sound of chipmunks running around the camp, cleaning up the crumbs left over from my camp dinner. The pure morning joy I felt in nature after so many years quickly faded as today's reality hit me. Here, at 6 feet, the air was fresh and cool, and as I stepped out of the tent I was captivated by the beauty of an alpine lake surrounded by snow-capped mountains. I wanted to push the painful realities deeper, clear my mind, go fishing. But I knew that today was the very day that I had been dreading for the last month. Today is the day of confrontation, which I must face harshly and definitively, so that I can then start all over again. I cooked a sort of breakfast of eggs and sausage on the propane stove along with thick black coffee. As I sat there, finishing my drink and fooling up for the 6-mile hike, I marveled at how beautiful and peaceful this moment in time was. I reassured myself that life holds beauty and joy for those who persist in moving forward in the right direction. I made a mental note to revisit my old hobbies, camping, hiking, fishing, and sailing, activities I had set aside during my 23-year marriage to the woman I once considered the love of my life. Well, now I must admit, she was once that woman. However, I remain optimistic, hopeful that another love may come my way in the future. The walk back was serene and uneventful, with no encounters until I reached my parked car. Loading my gear into the car, I embarked onto the main highway, finally turning my phone back on after 3 days of being disconnected. As I anticipated, messages and emails flooded in once I entered cell coverage. Driving onto the 2-lane paved county road, I heard the first beep of a message and glanced down to find it was from my 21-year-old son, Ryan. Ryan and I shared a bond that surpassed father-son dynamics. We were best friends, supporting each other through the trials and tribulations of his teenage years and emerging with a deep mutual respect and love. Ryan's message was short and to the point. Dad, I love you and support you. Good luck today and stay positive. Somewhere, someday, there will be a light at the end of this tunnel. His words of encouragement brought tears to my eyes and helped strengthen me in what I had to do. The next message I opened was from my daughter Krista, and it was also a promise of support and love. Dad, how I wish I could be with you, hug you, and tell you that everything will be fine. You are the best father we can imagine, and always put us first. Now you have to put yourself first. No matter what happens, you need to know that Ryan and I love you and will always be here for you. Krista had always been a daddy's girl. And although she was the spitting image of my beautiful wife, Linda, in her younger years, Krista had my sense of adventure, love of the outdoors, and crazy sense of humor, none of which Linda possessed. At least I was blessed with children that I loved, respected, and who would be the best legacy I would ever leave behind at the end of what I hoped would be a happy and fulfilling life again. I stopped to take a breather to carefully review my messages, emails, voicemails, and missed calls. There have been 10 missed calls from my wife in the last 3 days. The first 7 or so were probably from her 3-day banking seminar and supposed business trip to Vegas, and the last 3 seem to have been after she returned last night and then again this morning. I can imagine how angry she was when I wasn't at the airport to pick her up and when I didn't answer her calls or texts. I didn't bother with voicemails. I deleted them all and went to my inbox. Of course, Linda wrote to me about 20 times in the last 3 days, and again I did not answer them. I skimmed through them with the first few being her declaration of her endless love for me. What crap, I thought, probably out of guilt, and the last few being toxic, full of resentment because I didn't answer her, didn't answer my calls and left her waiting at the airport for over an hour before she finally realized I wasn't coming. The last message from her was simply, WTF Jack, all in caps, how our relationship had changed over the past months, although I don't think she even understood how the spark of love in me that had always burned for her began to slowly fade away. As she really drifted away from me that much over the last treacherous 4 months, had she really lost all conscious thought about me, about my feelings and about the pain in my eyes, which I was surprised she did not see? Did she so easily forget about her children, about our family, and about the love we shared for so long? It was perhaps even more depressing than her novel. Linda was beautiful at 44. She had incredible curves, slender legs, and firm breasts, and she knew how to work her body for any occasion, whether flirting at a social event or playing the role of a rising star banking professional in a trust department of the U.S. Bank of Commerce. I was always proud to be seen with her, and I loved the way men looked at her, barely able to contain their lust and avert their eyes. Knowing that she was mine and that we were forever woven into each other gave me a huge boost of self-respect and selfishness as we passed lustful onlookers. I told her how beautiful and desirable she was, but she always protested that she was getting old and no longer felt as young, energetic, and sexy as she used to. I could tell it was bothering her, and I tried to reassure her that her light was getting brighter, not dimmer, but she simply ignored my compliments, saying, "You just have to say it because you are my husband and you love me." Anyway, her underboss, Giih Morato, somehow became a new light in her life, at least sexually. Now, obviously, I was considered as a somewhat boring, but reliable best friend, although for me, we even stopped being friends. But again, Linda didn't notice this. Giih Morato, the wealthy vice president of the trust department, was thin, tall, and so self-confident that I found him obnoxious the several times I met him. But Linda considered him the epitome of a great leader. At least that's what she said when we discussed her work life and him. But that too suddenly stopped 4 months ago. Looking back, I now believe that this was the beginning of her affair. The beginning of the end of 23 years together. I brushed aside my depressive thoughts, looked at my phone again, and deleted all her messages with an angry growl, then moved on to other emails. My lawyer informed me that everything is ready to go according to our agreements. I also noticed a private chat notification and decided to read it. The man you were interested in had gotten into serious trouble during a robbery, suffering a crushed testicle and a shattered knee. As I closed the chat, everything was automatically erased. The next email I checked confirmed that my resignation from my job had been accepted, and my 401k and stock options had been liquidated, with the proceeds transferred to my new checking account. While the tax implications would sting, I didn't care. I needed to leave. As I was about to pull onto the road, the phone rang, and I saw it was Linda calling. I decided there was no better time to have this conversation and likened it to ripping off a Band-Aid. This needed to be done quickly and convincingly. I pulled over, turned off the engine, and answered the phone as calmly as I could. Hey Linda, what happened? What the hell do you mean? First of all, where are you? You weren't at the airport to pick me up, and you weren't home all night. You haven't even left a note or answered my calls or messages since last week. What the hell, Jack? Tell me what happened. Gee, Linda, I thought you wouldn't care whether I answered or not. Did you see me or not? I thought you'd be glad I'm not home. This way you can get yourself cleaned up and back in character before you see me, the kids, our friends, or your parents. Isn't that how your double life works? What? Why do you say that, Jack? I don't understand. What double life? You know that I have to travel for work. And by the way, why don't the children answer my calls and messages? Where is our king-size mattress from the master bedroom? Last night I had to sleep in the guest bedroom. Jack, what the hell is going on? Where the hell are you? And why did you leave me at the airport? I feel like I'm in the twilight zone and nothing makes sense. Linda, you are in that twilight zone into which you have driven yourself and our entire family. Linda's anger and aggressive verbal attack died down as her confidence must have begun to fall and her worst fears began to surface. What the hell does that mean, Jack? Where are you and what's happening? No matter where I am or where I'm going, I'm out of town, Linda, and I've been too busy last week to answer your texts and calls. I have been very busy trying to figure out how to move on from the major betrayal in my current life and into my new life. Linda hesitated and her voice shook when she heard the word betrayal, but she continued to play dumb and shouted, Jack, are you drunk? What are you talking about? First of all, Linda, tell me how your 3-day banking conference went. Did that asshole John have sex with you every night and morning or just 3 nights? I heard her gasp and go silent when I said that, and it took her a few seconds to respond. What the hell are you talking about? What is John like? And why do you say that? I'm married to you. Yes, Linda, you are married to me. And I am amazed that you still consider this a marriage. So can you at least do me the courtesy after 23 years of marriage to tell me the fucking truth? I know you have had no respect or care for me or your family for the past few months. But now that the lies and deceit have been exposed, how about being honest? Linda answered in a trembling and quiet voice. Jack, I don't know what you're imagining, but you're wrong. I love only you. There's nothing between me and Giih Morato. Well, at least now you've admitted that you know which John we're talking about. For a moment, it seemed to me that John was not the only one there. Linda, tell me honestly, did you think you'd never get caught or did you just not care? Why didn't you want to tell me that you wanted a divorce and loved someone else? It would be a lot easier for everyone if you had the courage to let us know before you lie and cheat behind our backs. Jack, Linda shouted and I heard her cry. Don't even mention the word divorce. Please believe me. I love only you. Please come home so we can talk about this. Nothing happens. How can you think otherwise? Apparently Linda was convinced I had no proof and was bluffing, so she was going to continue the charade. So you never had sex with Monroe in our bedroom on our now missing king-size mattress? No, of course not. What the hell are you talking about? Linda, wait in line for a minute, okay? With that, I pulled out a photo of Giih Morato having sex with Linda while she was on all fours. She looked like she was in ecstasy, and judging by the intense expression on his face, he was obviously giving it his all. It was one of many photos and videos I received from a camera, hidden in plain sight inside the dresser clock I had bought a month ago when I was warned about her affair. I sent the photo to Linda and switched back to the call. Linda, take out the photo I just sent you. Are you telling me it's not my loving wife cheating on me in my bedroom, on my huge mattress, without a condom, with her fucking boss? I heard her hang up and scream in agony. Oh God, no, Jack, please. It was a mistake. It only happened once. It didn't mean anything. It was just a fling. Just the excitement of someone younger who wanted me so bad and made me feel sexy and young again. It was the only time, and I really never meant for it to hurt you. Oh God, I'm so sorry. But Jack, if Linda, look out the window in the middle of the backyard. See this pile of charred wood, metal and ash? This is our fucking king-size mattress. This is a symbol of how you set fire to our marriage, how you betrayed our family, how you humiliated me. When did you hate me enough to cause me such pain? When did you decide that you no longer cared about my love or the love of our children? When did you decide that I was no longer worthy of respect and honesty? When and why did you decide to throw us out like morning trash? Jack, please, please forgive me. I love you. I can never hate you. I want to spend my whole life with you. It was an accident, a terrible mistake, and only once. It was me who was selfish. You have absolutely nothing to do with it. Please, Jack, come home and talk to me. Linda, my children and I are already fed up with lies and deception. Can you finally be honest with me? So that's why the kids don't answer my calls. Jack, did you tell them and turn them against me? How dare you? Linda, I haven't done a damn thing to keep the kids away from you. You did it all by yourself. That is, you and your fucking friend. It's all you. Your selfish, self-centered attitude and your need for sex with someone else's man is what brought you into the twilight zone and what took our entire family and destroyed it and drove us all away from you. And no, it wasn't me who broke the news to the children. They were the ones who confronted me. What a disappointment. I never imagined you capable of such lies, deceit, and abandonment. Please, stop with the lies now. This wasn't an isolated incident. It's been going on for at least 4 months, judging by how you emotionally disconnected from all of us. And the saddest part is, you didn't even realize it. You stopped communicating with us, stopped acknowledging me, stopped showing affection towards me, except for the occasional mercy sex. You repulse me. That jacket means nothing. It was just sex. A momentary lapse in judgment after 23 years of marriage. I want you, not John. Please believe me. Linda, wait. I retrieved the next photo from my phone. The one where Ryan unexpectedly came home and witnessed his mother and Monroe in the act. He quietly approached the open door of the master bedroom, captured several photos and videos on his phone, and kept it to himself for 2 weeks until he and Krista decided I deserved to know. So they called me and told me, and we all cried and were physically sick, watching their mother, my wife, betray her with his boss. This is what prompted me to buy a spy camera. I also sent this photo to Linda. Linda, open the phone again. This is the first time any of us have found out about you and your fucking boss. Although the way you cut all emotional ties with me 3 months before this picture, I'm sure you were lovers this whole time. Linda, Ryan discovered you first, and he took a photo of you in bed having sex. What the hell do you think your son feels about you after witnessing his mother's betrayal? Don't you realize that it turned him off and that you lost his and Krista's respect when they looked at those pictures and tried to decide whether to tell me about your adulterous, slutty behavior? Do you think they have even an ounce of trust or respect for you now? Do you know how painful it was for them to tell me that you were a liar, and how hard it was to hear them cry as they watched you ruin our marriage and destroy our family? Just stop lying about how it only happened once and how it hasn't been going on for months and how you didn't have sex with him 6 or 7 times on this latest business trip. I hang up on your next lie. No, Jack, please let me explain. I heard Linda sobbing at the top of her lungs and imagined her collapsing on the floor as she finally realized that her lies and betrayal had hurt her family and herself. Oh God, Jack, I'm so sorry. Please, you must forgive me. I went crazy, but it's over now. It was just cheap and slutty sex, and it was so exciting to be desired and secretly involved in an illicit affair. I felt young and desirable again, but there was no love, and I never wanted to hurt you, but I don't know how I could not see it. I didn't even realize how distant I was from you and the children, and I'm ashamed to admit that right now I wake up and see myself as some other person from a horror movie or nightmare, and I hate myself for it, because I love you, the children, and our life together. Oh dear Jack, please come home so I can make things right. I need to make us a family again. Linda, there is no us. You can't say you loved me after you cheated on me and caused me pain and emotional damage. You have shown that you have no respect for me, no care for anyone but yourself. And because of your lies and deceit, I will never be able to trust you again. Everything we had before is now tainted and suspicious. Have you been cheating on me with him for the last few years or 4 months? How many other men have you had? Do I need to have my children's DNA tested? Don't bother answering because I won't believe a word you say. Of course I need to get tested for STDs. You and I have nothing left. You've hurt me like no other. And I could never imagine that the person I loved and bet my life on would throw me away like a piece of trash. But you did it. Maybe the kids will find their way to you eventually. But I sure as hell never will. Jack, please don't say that. I'll do anything. I'll go to a psychologist. You can have sex with other women. Please do not leave me. I lived with a feeling of guilt. I wanted to stop and I always came back to you. It was just a pointless fling. Oh God, please forgive me. I'm so sorry. Linda, save your breath. I don't believe a single word you utter. And frankly, at this juncture, I couldn't care less about you or your deceitful fabrications. Now, listen attentively. What's happening now? Come Monday, the bank will serve you with divorce papers. God knows. Jack, please reconsider. Please don't divorce me. Linda, listen carefully. Your boss's wife has already been provided with copies of the videos and photos of your sordid affair, your betrayal with him in our very own bedroom. So, chances are, you and that bastard John Monroe will be left to deal with each other when his wife and I both wash our hands of your adulterous antics. Jack, please tell me you're not serious about this. He has a wife and 2 children. Why would you want to ruin their lives? Wow, Linda, you just don't get it. It's not me who's tearing apart their family. You and that bastard John Monroe destroyed everything. Your tawdry affair not only shattered my life, your life, and our children's lives, but also wrecked the lives of his wife and children. You should be ashamed of yourself. You played a part in the suffering of 8 people, but knowing you, you're probably too self-absorbed to even care. Her sobs echoed through the phone, but I wasn't finished yet. Your boss will be sued civilly for alienation of affection, although we'll have to find out which hospital he's in. Apparently, he was out of luck. Wrong place, wrong time. I heard from a friend that Monroe was mugged in an airport parking lot and ended up in the hospital with a crushed testicle and a shattered knee. So it's hard to say when he'll be fit enough to have sex with anyone again. Stop it, Jack. Stop being so cruel. I don't care about him. I just want you. Please don't do this to us. Listen, Linda. Again, we're not here. It's hard to say whether you and your boss will still have your jobs by the end of next week because I also sent these photos to the president and board members of the U.S. Bank of Commerce along with the alienation of affection and sexual harassment lawsuit. If they want to negotiate, I will try to keep you on the job, but I will require them to fire him for cause. No, Jack, no. Do you really hate me that much? Linda, you yourself showed your hatred for me with your betrayal. Lies and disrespect. You took the love I cherished for you and tore it from my soul. I'm just trying to regain some self-respect before our lives go in different directions. At this point, Linda was crying so hard and making cries of disbelief and denial that I was not sure that she would be able to listen to me any longer. I held back my anger and felt pain and remorse for what I was putting her through, because I knew I still loved her even though I hated her. It was a very disturbing mixture of emotions that tore at my soul. But overall, I was determined to take revenge and mortally wound her for what she had done to me. Linda, we're almost finished. Try to focus on the next few points. I took the $125,000 we had in savings and used $25,000 to pay for Krista's next 2 years of college. I will help her in the future, but for now, this is all I can afford. I'm leaving the house to you. I signed the contract in your name and the capital will be about $100,000 if you sell it now. I'm not selling our house, Jack, and I want you to stop this madness and come back to me so we can heal. Please, for our 23 years of love and happiness, before I go crazy. I ignored this remark and continued. Linda, if you sign the divorce, you will keep the house and all its contents. I'll keep the $100,000 that's left from our savings and we'll call it a day. If you don't agree to the divorce or start fighting it, I don't care. I won't be there to argue. Do what you want. I don't care. We're almost done, Linda. There are a few more things I need to tell you. If you look around, you'll notice that I've moved out. I took what I wanted and all that's left is yours. I took some photos and left the wedding photo albums with you. Save them. I don't care. I left my wedding ring on the dresser. You can melt it or flush it down the toilet, as happened with our marriage. Ryan is coming to pick up some of my fishing and hunting gear that he needs. He will come when you are not there, so do not be alarmed if you notice that someone has been in the house. He doesn't want to see you. Krista is coming to pick up all her things. She has no plans to ever live there again. She'll also like to come by when you're away, so don't be surprised if you see her room empty. The last thing you should know is that I also sent pictures of you cheating on me, your parents, my parents, and all of our contacts in both of our email databases. So you might want to work on that. What story will you tell them all? I'll be damned if I'm going to be the bad guy in this bad marriage. Her cries and screams had reached such a fever pitch that I feared she might collapse or lash out. This had to come to an end. Linda, there's one more thing. I resigned from my job last week and am relocating out of state, venturing into the unknown. I hope to find someone in the future who cherishes me enough to uphold the promises we make to each other. someone who values me, treats me as an equal, and whom I can trust and love once again. I hope you, in turn, can discover what you've clearly been lacking. Please refrain from seeking me out. If you require anything, you can reach out to Ryan or my lawyer, but I will be removing myself from your life and you from mine. Farewell, Linda. I heard her scream, Jack, no, please, Jack, please forgive me. I passed out and burst into an excruciating bout of crying and pain. I think I knew I had gone too far with my revenge and it would take me a long time to forgive myself for my cruelty. I doubted that I would ever forgive her. I knew the road ahead of me would be painful before I could heal myself and feel ready for something more than living alone. More than anything, I didn't want to lead a life full of bitterness. But remembering the morning on the top of the mountain, I reminded myself that there will still be moments of beauty and magic in my life. I just need to stay open to them and keep moving towards a new beginning. Second story, should I trust my gut, or am I overreacting? To provide some context, I have been in a relationship with my husband for about 5 years now. We initially met online, a method that isn't always the most conducive to healthy relationships. We dated virtually for roughly 2 years, but eventually, things took a turn for the worse. Being my first relationship, I was quite confused about what was happening. He started becoming distant and treating me poorly. Then, one day, he abruptly stopped talking to me for 4 days. And his entire family covered for him, claiming his phone was broken. It was a lie, especially considering I could see him online on the PS4, where he could have messaged me if he wanted to. Taking the hint, I spent the entire 4 days crying, and continued to do so after he broke up with me. His excuses were nonsensical. My intuitive Mexican mother had a feeling he was cheating on me. I never saw him in that light. I didn't think he was capable of it. Fast forward 2 weeks. He texted me, apologized, and we reconciled. I have to thank his family since they were the ones who convinced him. A month later, I went to visit him and his whole family were begging me to come live with them. I saw this as my ticket out of my abusive family and decided to say, fuck it. I went back to my hometown to get my things in my car. They all seemed to have a huge problem with it. What turned to only taking a week to get my things and leave turned to almost 2 months. One day before I came back, he said he did not know if he wanted to live or be with me anymore. His sister-in-law messaged me stating how I am not fit for the family. I took it as an insult since I am very shy at first and his family is very chaotic. He switched things around again and said in VM, just come live with me. So I did just that. When I got there, not even a hello, a hug, or even a stare. I was ignored by them all, knowing they regret their decision in allowing me to live with them. 2 weeks after that, I confronted him saying how I have a huge feeling he was cheating on me. He claimed, I haven't done anything. His nervous demeanor betrayed his words. And after relentless probing, he finally confessed to only buying nudes off of Snapchat. Although I wasn't comfortable with it, I chose to let it slide, considering it had only been 2 weeks since I moved in with him and I didn't want to stir up any trouble. However, that night, curiosity got the better of me, and I decided to look through his phone. What I found was beyond disturbing. He had been messaging multiple women, subscribed to 3 different OnlyFans accounts, and had a hidden folder filled with explicit photos. I couldn't hold back the tears as I began packing my belongings. He woke up in a panic and pleaded with me. After a few days, I reluctantly decided to give our relationship another chance, excusing his behavior with the thought that we were long distance. Maybe he just wanted to feel something more than love from afar. It has been 3 years from that now. I've been distrusting to say the least, but lately I have a gut feeling that won't go away. I keep wondering if he is doing it again. He always wakes up very early and hides in the restroom with his phone. While I was texting my sister through his phone when mine died, I saw emojis he does not normally use, if you know what I mean, and he never texts anyone, not even me. I've noticed he always deletes his history when I use his phone to search, etc., etc. Lots of weird shit happening not up to the norm. I choose not to go through his phone due to the fear of finding something I wish not to see. I want to confront him, but this is all speculation and maybe just coincidences. I just want to know. Thanks for joining us on this chapter of Relation Tales. If you were moved by these stories, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Don't miss out on the upcoming emotional roller coaster of relationships. Your support means the world, and we can't wait to share more compelling tales with you. Until next time, remember, every relationship has a story worth telling. See you soon.